Last night, in very windy conditions, the new fire, the new Easter fire, was lit last night outside here, with the congregation all gathered round. And then the Paschal candle, the Easter candle, was lit from that. Terry had devised a sort of cone to protect the flame in its transfer from the blazing fire. And there were oohs and ahs when one piece of wood cracked and sparks went everywhere. We really hadn't done the risk assessment very well. 3 attempts were made before the candle was successfully lit. And to do that, we had to come well into the church porch, so nobody else could see what was happening. Something like this seems to happen every year. It certainly did in the many Easter vigils I attended in the Abbey. But I've always thought that that doesn't matter. In our liturgy, we are attempting to bring down to earth the heavenly liturgy from heaven, the banquet of the saints. And it's not surprising that we are constantly reminded that we are not in heaven yet. That however much we prepare, however much we plan and rehearse, we are still human beings doing our best. We believe that God blesses our efforts and that it's overwhelmingly worth doing. I've always thought that phrase is right. If something is worth doing, it's worth doing well. I think it should be, if something is worth doing, it's worth doing badly. No? No? Our imagination and the grace of God fills out our little flaws and the creases in our inventions. Nevertheless, the wonder of the Easter candle filling the darkness of the church last night at the vigil, reinforced by the little candles held by everyone else, brings us very close to believing that the risen Christ is truly in our midst, and that the glow and reflection of all those flames light up the faces of all the believers. I've just come from saying Mass in our other church, Our Lady of Peace. Ideally, I should have taken a flame from that fire lit last night, from that candle lit last night, and somehow found a way of driving with the candle in one hand, the steering wheel in the other. But we didn't do that. In fact, you might think all this is leading up to an apology for not doing things well. I had forgotten that at Our Lady of Peace, they don't have the little candles that I hope you all have, or we may have run out. So we had to improvise. So I got them to imagine, to close their eyes, and imagine they were holding candles, and that the light was lit at the beginning from the candle. We did have one of these. And gradually it spread through everybody. And I asked them, in their imagination, with their eyes still closed, to smile when the candle reached them. I think it actually worked better than having real candles. But we'll see what happens later on today. The candle is given special honour and respect. We have a painting of this year of St. Francis. It's the 800th year of the anniversary of the death of St. Francis. So this is the year of St. Francis. And he was obviously particularly devoted to the cross. He received the wounds of Christ in his own body. And we also have the year of this year, the calendar year, the Alpha and the Omega, and the grains of incense, which represent the 5 wounds of Christ. When we bless this candle, when we blessed this last night, I said, Christ, yesterday and today, fixing it in time, the date, this year's date. Christ, yesterday and today, the beginning, the Alpha, and the end, Omega. All time belongs to him and all the ages. To him be glory and power through every age, forever. The candle is given all the honour normally given to the gospel. So this morning, before the gospel, I incensed the gospel. Last night, the candle was incensed from 4 directions, the centre of the world. In the gospel book, we honour Christ who speaks to us through his works and teachings. In the Paschal candle, we honour Christ, the light of the world. The candle is put close to the lectern, word and light together. And then we had the wonderful words of the Exultet, this hymn to the candle itself, symbolizing the risen Christ. Just a couple of extracts. O truly necessary sin of Adam, destroyed completely by the death of Christ. O happy fault that earned so great a Redeemer. O truly blessed night, worthy alone to know the time and the hour when Christ rose from the underworld. This is the night of which it is written, the night shall be as bright as the day, dazzling is the night for me and full of gladness. And then, when our own candles were lit, just as the word passes from mouth to mouth, so the flame spreads throughout the church and throughout the world, if we take it with us by our daily witness. Witnessing, that's the theme, and this is what we hear in the readings. The primary duty of the Christian is to witness. St. Peter said in that first reading from the Acts of the Apostles, God raised him on the third day and caused him to appear, not to all the people, but to us who had been chosen as witnesses. He commanded us to preach to the people and to testify that he is the one appointed by God. And St. Paul in the letter to the Colossians, set your minds on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. At the moment, many of us are fascinated by the astronauts on Artemis II, on their lunar mission. However much they have been prepared, however much reading they've done, or looking in the archives of other people's photographs, they are amazed and inspired by the view of the earth that they get through their portholes. Are we prepared to admit to ourselves and to proclaim to others that if we believe that Christ is risen, our viewpoint, like the viewpoint of the astronauts, is completely changed? That the resurrection of Christ is a cosmic event that not only turns our world upside down. Think of those pictures of the resurrection, which show the soldiers turning somersaults in their reaction to the risen Christ above them. This cosmic event upends and changes the direction of the universe. And then the gospel. Mary Magdalene, in John's version, is the first witness, the first candle lit by the risen Lord. And then she passed on the flame to others. Mary Magdalene, known as the apostle to the apostles. So in a moment we're going to renew our baptismal vows, and we're going to have our candles lit from the Easter candle. I'd like to do this quite slowly, in silence. So a server will bring the light to someone in the first row, and they'll pass it on to people next to them and people behind them, and it will take a while, and gradually the church will fill with those little candles. And as we did at Our Lady of Peace, when you receive the light, you can smile. So the people will be looking pretty grim to begin with, and gradually as the flames spread, you'll all be smiling, ready to renew your vows of baptism. I'm sorry if there weren't enough candles to go around. Like the people of Our Lady of Peace, some of you may have to imagine the candle being lit, but you can still smile.